Hey guys, I'm Kendra. I'm a Northern California State realtor, and I'm creating a video series for you today about the home buying process from beginning to end. So from the day you're deciding, I want to look at a house, to the day you have a sold sign in your hand and you're hanging out in your new home. Now, a lot of people have questions about buying a home or get nervous about the thought of buying a home because it's the biggest purchase they've ever made. And honestly, let me tell you, that's normal. I get two different kinds of buyers. I get the kind that are a realtor in trading and have so much knowledge and background from all the research they did on Google or Pinterest. And then I have no idea what I'm doing and I probably can't get a house buyer. I wanted to spend some time talking about the questions that people ask me about being a realtor. The first question that I usually get asked is, how am I paid? And this question varies depending on if you're the buyer or the seller. But since we're from the buyer's perspective, I will explain it from that perspective. Basically how it works is we get commission from the selling side. So the selling side negotiates a percentage with the seller, and that percentage comes out of the sale of the house. And then the buying side, which would be us, gets paid when we find that seller and we do the transaction and it closes. So if they're negotiating 6% commission, then it gets split in half. And when the house closes, buyer side gets 3%, seller side gets 3%. So the money doesn't actually come from your pocket per se as a buyer. The second question that I usually get asked is, what is escrow? And that is a great question because honestly, I never understood it. I went to real estate school and didn't really understand it. It wasn't until I actually started working in the industry that I got a good understanding of escrow. So I will explain it to you in the way that made sense to me. Escrow is a neutral third party between the buyer and the seller. So once you're in contract, then escrow is this guy in the middle here. And they're the keeper of money transferred between buyer and seller, as well as agreed upon payments between buyer and seller. So at the end of a transaction, when everyone's happy and closed, escrow pays out the seller for the buyer. So the buyer pays escrow and escrow pays the seller, and then escrow pays the buyer's agent and escrow pays the seller's agent. And this is to protect you in a transaction so that you don't hand, thousands of dollars off to your realtor and then they run away with it. Now you're out the money for a house and they're a lot richer, right? Okay, the third question I usually get asked is, what are the costs in buying? This is a great question because there are hidden costs to being a buyer. Some that are obvious and some that are not, right? You've probably heard 100 realtors tell you you need a down payment. Now, there's different beliefs about what you need for a down payment. Typically, in the modern world, you need between 3% and 20%. The second thing you need is to pay for inspections. And inspections are key because they tell the story of your house. So, getting an inspection can be useful for knowing what's going on inside the home that you're about to spend $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 on, right? Inspections are usually for the roof, pest, and general, okay? This will range altogether between $700 and $800, okay? So that's an important cost to know about because that's almost $1,000, and it's good to know. The next hidden cost is appraisals, okay? These are different than inspections. They're required by the lender and they tell you the value of your home to make sure you're not underpaying or overpaying for the house. If you're underpaying for the house, it's usually just a benefit of the buyer. However, if you're overpaying for the house, you can't get the funding from the lender. So it's really important to know what the appraisal value is and how that works, which we can talk about in another video. But the cost of an appraisal is about $500 to $600. Okay, so another hidden cost, appraisal value. The final hidden cost that I have for you guys today is closing costs. Closing costs are what you pay to the lender at closing. So it helps cover lender fees, it covers points, it covers all kinds of stuff, the escrow fees, the title fees. So it incorporates a lot of stuff. It's really important to know that closing costs are somewhat around 3% of the purchase price of your house. It may vary depending on where you live, what the interest rates in the market is like, and who your lender is. So it's not foolproof, but I usually tell my clients to plan for around 3% of what they want to buy for this and at least 3% for this. It is really important if you want to buy a house and you're not sure where you're at to talk to a realtor like me and have them walk you through the process and talk to a lender and kind of game plan where you're at in the home buying process. That is usually the best way. If you follow along in these next few videos, hopefully you'll have a great understanding of the process, and maybe by the end, you'll even be prepared to buy a house. The last question I tend to get asked is it worth it to buy? And this is a great question because honestly, it depends on your situation, your belief about money. It depends on a lot of factors. However, for most people, my answer would be yes. Because no matter what you do, you're paying a mortgage. The question you want to ask yourself is, do I want to pay my own or do I want to pay someone else's? At the end of the day, at least when you're paying your own, your money is going somewhat back into your own pocket rather than into the pocket of a landlord or someone else. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching my video.